Good morning, everyone. Well, there is going to be a cold front pushing into Nebraska today, but for most, it's going to arrive too late, and it is going to be very hot this afternoon. Let's take a look at our feels-like temperatures that are expected this afternoon and check out the eastern part of the state. Feeling like 104 in Omaha, 104 in Lincoln, 104 in Columbus. Very uniform. As you go to the west, it gets better, but not good. Feeling like 101 in Grand Island, might even feel like 100 even in North Platte. But then you get to Scottsbluff and Chadron, only mid to upper 80s for our feels like temperatures because the cold front's going to be pushing in the early afternoon. But particularly in the eastern part of the state, where you're seeing those feels like temperatures in the mid 100s, one of those extra hot days today. One of those days where the best strategy during the afternoon hours is going to be staying inside in the AC. But there's a lot going on, including the World Series in Omaha. So if you are going to be out, absolutely stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water and try to at least take some breaks in the shade. We do have a rain chance to talk about as well, not during the morning hours, but as early as 1 o'clock as that cold front starts to push in to the panhandle. We'll see some showers and storms starting to pop up. And we're just going to have to keep an eye on these storms that pop up during the afternoon and particularly into the early evening hours, because though there are going to be gaps in activity, this is 1 o'clock. Now let's jump ahead to 4 o'clock. And notice that we are talking about isolated storms. The problem is so hot, so humid, that the storms that do pop up do have the opportunity of producing some damaging wind and hail. The hottest part of the day looking like 4 o'clock this afternoon. And notice that we're not seeing a big difference from our high temperatures and our feels like temperatures for places like North Platte. Notice that feels like temperature is going to be 100 and the high temperature 99. However, upper 90s in the eastern part of the state, but because it's going to be so humid, that's why it's going to be feeling like the triple digits. Windy for everyone in the state. We're talking gusts 35 miles per hour this afternoon. 7 o'clock. Notice how still isolated activity, still pushing to the east. And what's interesting is 7 o'clock, we're going to see that activity starting to roll into Grand Island. But after 7 o'clock, it looks like this initial round of isolated activity is going to fizzle out. Notice how that activity disappears, but new activity fires up in the central part of the state along the actual cold front. Now, this is 10 o'clock in the evening. And with this round of activity, again, a combination of showers and storms, it's less likely that we're going to see severe storms because our temperatures will be cooling down. I'm still going to leave in the smallest of chances, but I think the greater threat is probably during the late afternoon and early evening hours. But we're going to keep the chance in there. There's 10 o'clock. Now we're talking about 1 a.m. Notice this activity, too, trying to push to the east. But once again, it looks like the magic spot is going to be around Grand Island and Columbus. Once the activity gets there, it's going to fall apart again. And so by 4 a.m. tonight, notice just a few leftover stray showers. So the big takeaway for Lincoln and Omaha, there's a very good chance that you could very well end up staying dry tonight. The chance of rain awfully small. And based on that, you are not under a threat for severe storms in Lincoln, Omaha, Beatrice. A small chance for severe storms, the marginal risk level 1 out of 5, Columbus, Grand Island, Kearney, North Platte, Scottsbluff. Most concerned about the north central part of the state today. And I think what's most likely, again, because of especially those gaps in the activity, if you do see a storm, you're probably just going to see some heavy rain and lightning. But I do think there will be a couple of overachieving storms. And in those overachieving storms, we could see wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail. Let's talk about tomorrow, too, and some relief from the heat and some better rain chances in the eastern part of the state. Now, not early tomorrow morning. I'm going to mention the smallest of chances for a stray shower for Lincoln and Omaha for the morning commute tomorrow, but it's more likely that it's going to be dry. Once again, it's going to be in the afternoon where we're going to have to be paying closer attention to the activity. Even 1 o'clock definitely looks like isolated activity. It's most likely going to pop up in the central part of the state. Let's look at 4 o'clock tomorrow compared to 4 o'clock today. So we are still going to see some 90s, particularly the far eastern part. So I do think we're going to see the low 90s in Lincoln and Omaha, but the humidity not as bad either. So we're not talking about those feels like temperatures in the triple digits anymore. And notice in the central part of the state, mainly looking at highs in the upper 80s and then farther to the north and west, low to mid 80s. Also tomorrow, unlike today, it's not going to be windy. There's not going to be much wind anywhere in the state. Now, I do think, notice in the late afternoon, activity picking up a little bit more. We're going to see some scattered showers and storms that are going to continue into the evening hours. But one thing you're noticing here, notice how it's green and yellow dots showing up, but not seeing those shades of red. So right now, yes, there could be some weak storms around. It's looking like the best chance of rain in the Lincoln Omaha area is going to be during the early evening hours. Right now, though, it doesn't look like any severe storms. Keep an eye on it, though, and give you another update tomorrow morning.